Your most valuable system that you have in your business is the ability to find and attract talent. That is the most important system in your business.
So what are a few of the keystone habits that you see in agents who truly think and lead like a CEO?
One of the beliefs that I have, Mike, is I just don't believe you can coach and lead another human until you can coach and lead yourself first.
Ooh.
And the first rule of leadership is lead by example. And so how are you showing up every single day? The size of your business is in direct proportion to the size of your leadership capabilities. That's what you have to focus on. That is your job.
Welcome back to the Leverage Lounge podcast, where we decode how real estate agents, creators, and entrepreneurs scale beyond solopreneurship using smart systems, powerful people, and purpose-driven leverage. And today's guest is the guy who helps you do exactly that. He's the founder of John Kitchen's Coach, which is a strategic business coach company to some of the top performing teams in the country, and the man behind countless quiet success stories right here in our industry. Let's welcome to the lounge, Mr. John Kitchens. What's up, bro?
I love it, brother. That's awesome, man. Just honored to be here, get to hang with you, and excited to dive in.
Man, you have so much going on. I'm just appreciative of you saying yes to being on the show, being in the lounge with us. So let's jump right in. Let's start with what you call the chaos to clarity shift. Now, most agents think they're being productive because they're just reacting all day long. So can you walk us through what does it mean to shift from doing the work to designing the business?
Yeah. And we all find ourselves in ebbs and flows into chaos, but it's being able to have that a level of awareness to catch ourselves and then being able to shift out of that, right? It's kind of the knowledge and power concept. So knowledge is just awareness, right? Once you have that level of awareness, that's why it's important to track and measure things. It's important to surround yourself with people that will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, putting up the mirrors around you, because we all have blind spots, right? Yeah. And as we continue to progress, we just can't see certain things, and we need structure and systems and tools and people around us to point out our flaws and what we're just not able to see. That's knowledge, create awareness. And then power, it really is just choice. When you know that you have a choice, and you always have a choice. And so you can choose to do something about it or choose not to, because that's a choice too. To do nothing is also a choice. So understanding really those two things. But once you've been able to, like Jocko talks about, right, where you disengage and step back to where you take a full view, it's impossible to see the picture inside of the frame. So we've got to be able to step back and okay, where's the move? What's going on? And that's how we begin to move out of chaos. And we start to establish some clarity of really what's happening. And for me, clarity is just two things: radical honesty of what current reality truly looks like, not what we think it looks like, but what it really looks like, not sticking our head in the sand, owning the financial situation, owning kind of the customer acquisition side of things, owning the people component, more importantly, owning me, my component. Like, how am I showing up? Am I showing up as the leader that I must show up for the people that are depending upon me to really push through? And then the other thing is, where the heck are we going? Like, what is the dang goal? What is the destination? Because we want to move in as much of a straight line as we possibly can, moving from point A to point B. But what happens is that people lose sight of point B, and then they just find themselves in this circular situation. And the thing is when you're in a circular situation, the situation always drives you down. And we want to get moving to where we want to go. So it really takes those two components, point A to point B. Like, it's all on the table. Here's everything. Hey, brother, this is where I'm trying to get to. This is my destination. Okay, cool. Let's put the plan in place to get you there. Let's figure out the path that you need to take based upon your capabilities, your skill set, your level of commitment. What are you willing to commit to? And then we'll design that plan for you that you can execute on along the way. And it's just really important to unpack it that way. And there's a lot of people that just want to give you the advice, but they don't want to stop and ask you the questions. Really, what's happening, man? What's going on? Okay, cool. Where do you want to go? What are you trying to accomplish? And then from there, we can really strategically problem solve.
So what's one clarity habit? Because I love how you put that as far as getting clear on where the goal is, understanding that agents get kind of caught in this ether around point A, but never really getting to point B. And you talk about habits often. What's one clarity habit that every CEO should build?
It's the weekly strategic thinking time. It's the 60 to 90 minutes where it's just really total reflection. And for me, it's part of the Sunday planning process. And it starts just with an assessment of where we at to our goals. So never losing sight of the goals. That's the critical thing. What am I trying to accomplish? And not losing sight of that. And sometimes, because on the path of growth, it takes a lot of oxygen, and oxygen for our business is cash. So in the pursuit of growth within our business, it sucks a lot of oxygen. It sucks a lot of cash. So you've got to take a constant temperature of that on a weekly basis of seeing where we're at, where are we at in relation to our goal. And then you just start to step back, hey, man, where am I winning? Where am I losing? Where are we falling short? What's broken? What's about to break? And more importantly, man, are there things that we just need to stop doing? And we have to remember, Mike, that we don't tend to die of starvation. We tend to choke ourselves out because we try to do too much. And we try to consume too much. And when we can narrow the focus and go deeper on that thing, then that allows us to not build Joel's half-built bridge concept. And real estate agents, small business entrepreneurs are notorious for half-built bridges. They just won't see anything to completion because they're looking for the quick path. And there is no quick path. The quick path is do the work. That's the quick path. And stop avoiding the work. And so I think that's really where you can have the reflective strategic time and built it into whatever works for you. For me, usually a 90-minute run, walk, jog, a lot of walk, and just maybe the headphones are in because I want people to not mess with me and I can just kind of tune out some noises, but there's nothing playing. It's just me thinking and having the conversation with myself. And to me, that's one of the most important times of the week that we can have to have that reflection.
I love the way you simplify these things that we talk about and we kind of know we should be doing, but it's a lot like blocking and tackling. It really is the simple things. How do you win games? Blocking and tackling. And so when you talk about simplifying business into 4 core systems, that phrase, systems equal freedom, shows up in almost everything you teach. And so can you break down what these 4 core systems are and how do they create scalability?
Yeah. I mean, I look at the kind of the 4 levers and then the systems that's going to drive those levers for growth. And it comes down to being able to create opportunities. So what is our traffic process? What are we doing to generate opportunities? What's our repeatable system to convert those opportunities? And then what is the opportunity to build lifetime value? That's the fulfillment side of things. How do we fulfill? And you'll see a lot of people out there that are great, especially great online internet marketers are great at getting, they're terrible at keeping. And so they're not focused on the fulfillment lifetime value lever. And then you look at, okay, well, how am I maximizing profit, retention? My business model is agents. When you get in the team game and you've got more than a dozen agents, you're no longer servicing buyers and sellers. You're servicing agents. Your new clients become agents. And we can be more profitable if we keep our agents a little bit longer, focus on the lifetime value. And there's certain things to be able to pull that retention lever as well. So when you start to look there, it's like, okay, well, what are the systems that have to be in place to support the goals in those aspects? When you think about systems and consistency and the plumbing and the framework for your business, is you've got to make sure you start and come back again. You got to start with the goal, because my infrastructure and my systems are going to be a little bit different depending upon what the goal is.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing is where we have to start. But once we have that, we have to look at, okay, what is our value to the market? What is our value proposition? So how do we go about creating value and being able to deliver and capture that value to the market? It's your business model. You know the goal. What is your business model? Business model is just that. How do you create? How do you deliver? And how do you capture value? And when you exchange value, that's when you're able to monetize on that.
So do you reverse engineer that then? I mean, obviously you start with the goal in mind, but the goal is always, yes, I need more customers. So I need to do lead generation, customer acquisition, but I also, as you talked about, need to be able to fulfill it. And then I have the long-term value play. And so where do you start? Because if you just start generating customers, which a lot of agents just go out and start buying leads, they don't really know what systems to prioritize first. And so I hear you talking about the goal. Do you start with the end in mind and then you work your way backwards?
Yeah, for me, it's you almost have to because it's a level of commitment. If you don't, that's when sometimes it's just a hobby and you're kind of interested in the thing. And then you get into the thing and you realize how hard the thing is. And then you like bounce around and go do something else. You abandon it because you haven't taken the time to get clear on, is this something I'm willing to commit to? You don't commit and figure it out. You figure out what it is you want, reverse engineer what it's going to take for that to be true. And then, is that something I'm willing to commit to? That's where you always have to start. If not, you're going to just be interested. And where we're at in today's climate in the marketplace, there is no room for just interested people. Like the barrier is commitment. You want to get ahead, you got to be obsessed. And so that's just kind of where do you fall? And that's the gut check. That's the reality kicking in the teeth, the conversation in the mirror that like, am I willing to commit to this? And so we start there. And once you have the goal, the value, is it of value? Will people pay for this in the marketplace? Then we can start to build the plan in order to create, deliver, and pull the value to get this machine moving. But then the component is, well, what resources and team do I need for us to be able to execute this plan in this value equation in pursuit of the goals that we're going to? So you start with the end in mind, you bounce back to the team, and then you make sure that you have the team in order to be able to go that way. So you're like, well, what's the core system that you need to have in place? To me, the number one is the hiring system. Like your most valuable system that you have in your business is the ability to find and attract talent. That is the most important system in your business. How do you attract a talent given where you're at that you're able to afford at this point? And a talent changes as the game gets a little more intense and you start
you're saying like A grade talent, right? Grade A talent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A player talent is defined as somebody that gets the job done 90% of the time in a given pay range. They are obviously a core value fit. They have the capabilities and skill set. They have a execution mindset. They get things done. When you're $500,000 in GCI to $1 million in GCI, A player talent, but then you make the jump to 3 million in GCI, that player might not be A player talent anymore because they might not have the capacity to grow with you. That's why you've always got to be looking for talent. Always. And the thing that we have to remember though, it doesn't matter if you have the greatest hiring system and you are bringing in 10 level talent. If you're not at a 10 level talent, they're gone. And if you're building a team of 2s and 3s, 10s don't want to hang around 2s and 3s.
Yes, so true.
And if you're an 8, a 10 won't stay. So the most important thing in your business is the talent system. But the most critical thing is what is the system that you are doing to become the best version of yourself? Like you said, what are those habits? And you want to take the shortcut, just go get the Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod and understand the savers. I mean, you want the quick, down and dirty, easiest framework that will change your life in days is just implement the savers for 30 days and tell me if your life's not better.
Couldn't agree more. I actually teach that class to agents as well. Teach a
So
class
important.
based on the savers based on that book, especially the Miracle Morning for real estate agents. You've said, John, that you can have the right people and the right systems. And I think you're still saying this. You can have the right people and the right systems, but if they're not aligned, you're still stuck. I want to talk about alignment now. How do you help leaders diagnose when they've hired the right people, but into the wrong roles?
It's getting real clear. Obviously, everything has to start with the vision. And you have to be real clear on what your core values are, your shoulds and should nots, your decision-making filters. Because when you know those values, the things that we stand for, that's the most important piece. To be able to hire people that are core value, surround yourself with people that are core value alignment, character and trust. High character, high trust individuals. Those are non-negotiables. Your core values are non-negotiables. Growth, A-player talent. We get results. We own the outcome. 100-0 results focused. Whatever else those values might be for you, but you got to know them and you got to hire, fire, train, coach, lead to them, because the people you surround yourself and the things you do is what your culture is. It's not what you say your culture is. It's what you do is really what your culture is all about. It's how you behave. It's how you show up. It's how you entertain. I mean, you know this better than anybody. So that's like one of the most critical components in being able to cast a massive vision, a big vision, because the other component is your purpose. Really, that's just what it is. I mean, why do what we do? My purpose is my why statement. Going through Simon Sinek's start with why. Know your why, build your why. And really what it is what are you the best in the world at that you can do so that you can do the thing that gives you the most amount of fulfillment, what fulfills you. So when you bring people in from an alignment perspective, do they align to the values? Do they believe in the purpose? Are they there in what their goals are? And based upon that, it's going to give you fulfillment if they achieve their goals. And then they're bought into whatever that big, crazy, hairy, audacious goal, stretch goal, impossible goal, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. But what is that goal? And are they bought into it? And do they believe they can accomplish their dreams by being a part of what it is you're trying to do? If not, without a vision, the village will perish and they will leave. And it's just a matter of time. So that's super important from an alignment perspective. But when you really start to uncover from them what makes them tick, when your hiring process, you got to have some process. There's got to be some hoops they've got to jump through. But when you do your due diligence on them, just as simple as just go pay attention to their social media content for a while. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. You can look at their resume. You can look at their work history, what attributes they have. You can flush that out through test drive them before they start with you. There's all kinds of things you can do, but that's really what you're looking for. But when you get an opportunity and you bring them on board and they're high character, high trust, they bring some attributes, some skills needed to the table, run them through as many personality profiles as you need. We always have talked about the DISC. For me, the DISC is just an energy management tool. I just know where your energy levels are. That's the only reason that okay, you're a high C. Okay, great. I know if I put you in a situation, you need X amount of recovery. If you're a high D and I need you on doing a task that's mundane, a C level task, but you're a high D. Okay, I know you're going to be frustrated. We're going to need to navigate a little bit. It's just an energy management tool. There's all kinds out there. We've taken them all. The go-to though is going to be the working genius. And the more I spend time with it, the more I look at it, it's building a team that you can put into their genius. That's the biggest thing. If you can build a team around people's genius and what they love to do and what their skill set is, they're going to thrive. And I think that's super, super important to really nail down, because you know what conversations to bring them into. You know what conversations to keep them out of. And so it's just understanding how to communicate and connect faster. So that to me is really important. Had Angel come into the team. She's been with me for almost over 4 years, going on 5 years. And she came in social media side of things, but she's a freaking English major and she loves to write and she loves taking time. She's not a fast, just run and gun on the content side of things. So we just use that to our advantage. We know kind of her style and where she can layer in the most value, but also something that energizes her that she doesn't get frustrated with. And most people beyond paychecks, as long as their financial needs are met, there has to be purpose beyond just doing the job. And if you can tap into their purpose and their purpose aligns to what you're trying to accomplish, that energy never drains and they could run forever.
I was going to ask you about accountability, but you nailed it, because I've heard it said that we can't hold people accountable. There's no such thing as holding other people accountable. There's a such thing as self-accountability, and we can manage to that. I should not have you trying to accomplish the goals that I've set for you, but I can hold you honest to the goals that you've set for yourself. And so I think a lot of team leaders, they come in with these goals for the agent, trying to cast their goals onto the agents that are joining their team. But it really comes down to, much like you said, like what kind of fire is in them, and is it the right fit for the right role? And it may be, or it may not be, but we need to know that before we really get in business with them. Let's talk about what most agents secretly want, which is getting out of production without watching this whole thing burn to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, for you team leaders out here, I got you. What are the signs that a team leader is ready to exit production?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of different reasons. The thing that I have seen over the last 20 years of this is they get excited about pursuing another opportunity or a bigger opportunity that would unlock more of their passion, things that they're really excited about. So, for example, Kinder wanted out of production to chase this opportunity that was actually going to be a book called Coachable that ended up turning into another opportunity to where we were selling the first over the web technology, and we were selling websites that led into long roundabout way that led into coaching. And so he just needed space and time to pursue another passion, another endeavor, something that he believed was going to be a bigger opportunity than what we were trying to build in Lawton, Oklahoma. And so that was an example. Stasek, another example. He had an opportunity to develop and build a call center. He had a great ISA in Matt Milia, and they had an opportunity to go sell products for Jay and Mike. So they're like, hey, we got the resource. We can do it. We can expand. Let's hire ISAs, and we're going to be a call center. We're going to sell your products. And then he ends up selling Cheplak's products and selling other products and doing other things, and then coaching and training. So he had another reason to get out of production. I think the other thing too is we start bringing in, here we are in the leverage lounge. So bringing some leverage in with boots on ground. And if you think about it on the agent side of things, and this is what I would always push back at team leaders or people that think they want to get into coaching real estate agents.
Yeah.
Listen, in a coaching dynamic, are you going to make off of coaching a new agent? How much can you charge them? A couple $100?
Maybe.
So let's say your average commission is 10,000 commission check. I mean, you got to have how many $200 coaching clients? $300 coaching clients? Well, I'll charge them 1,000. Let me tell you, if they ain't making 5, 6, 7, 800,000 in GCI, they ain't paying you 1,000. So where you can make the money if you have a passion.
And if they do, you won't have them for long, right? I mean,
you won't have them for long. So the reality of it is that if you have a passion for helping new agents, build a team, because if it is a $10,000 commission and you go 50-50 with new agents and they close 6 deals their first year, do the math. How much money did you just make off of them? 30,000?
30 grand.
Listen,
Yeah.
You ain't making much more doing anything else if helping an agent that's on your team, 30,000 a year. So I think that's where a lot of folks, they don't look at the math. They don't look at the acquisition cost. They don't look at the lifetime value. And remember the math equation. What does it cost you to acquire this opportunity? And for most, think about this. For most team leaders, it doesn't cost any money other than maybe 3-4 hours of time. Let's say 5 hours of time. Okay, Mike, let's run through the scenario.
Okay.
5 hours of time. Just simple math. Their time is worth $1,000 an hour. Let's just throw it out there. 5 hours, $5,000 of time invested in recruiting an agent to their team. Well, we just gave the example. They just made $30,000 in 1 year off of their agent. That's $5,000 acquisition, $30,000 lifetime value. What is that multiple? 6 times?
Yeah.
But how long do agents typically stay with team leaders? 2 years, 3 years?
2 years. Yeah.
We'll go 2 years. That's $60,000 on a $5,000 acquisition for $60,000. Would you trade $5,000 for $60,000 over a 2-year
All day
period?
long. All
You would
day
do
long.
it all day long. And I think that's where a lot of people get delusional with it. And like, listen, I hate these agents. I hate this team. It's like, listen, how are you looking at it? What's the goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And so when you look at the math, and that's why I always push back at, yeah, man, I just want to be a coach. I want to coach them. I'm just like, well, what type of agents are you looking to coach? What are you going to coach them on? What's the skill set? What are you trying to help them accomplish? What's the outcome? And I'm like, dude, you're just better off just starting a team. Just run a team dynamic. You're going to make more off of them than you could possibly ever make off of them in coaching. So
that's one of the things
I think about it.
That's one of the things I appreciate about your coaching approach too, is that like you do what you know and you're good at what you do. You're not everybody's coach. You're not saying, oh yeah, you want me to show you how to get some listings? You want me to go out here and show you how to door knock or open house mastery? No, you're the systems guy. Write things in the right order. Here's where your mindset needs to be in order to get to that next place. That helping people prepare emotionally for that shift in identity, wherever it is that they're trying to go to. And I think that's a very important point. Like you just mentioned, if a team leader's out here is like, well, or any agent who's just saying, I just want to coach agents. Like I said, what are you coaching them on? What are you coaching them to? What package are you bringing?
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to be better able to help them if you've kind of niche down whatever it is that you want to coach them on. Mm-hmm. That's more appealing than this general, intangible coach idea.
Right. It doesn't necessarily come to you just like that. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's dipping your toe in. You're like, I don't like that, man. That just doesn't feel right. Like, I mean, it's like, you and I going to get fitted for a suit. We take one off the rack and you're like, man, it looks good on the rack. It looks good on the mannequin, man. It just doesn't feel good. So you just got to kind of sometimes try things on and see. But when it just feels right. It's just good. It's just like you're really, truly making a difference. You're helping people. So it's really getting really clear on that side of the things, and really back to what we keep saying. What's the dang goal, man? What are you trying to accomplish? And from there, then you can really navigate the waters a lot more strategically and a lot less painful.
A lot less painfully. So let's talk about your journey, John, before we get too deep into this. Because as we're talking about transition, we're talking about getting clear on what it is that you're the best in the world at and how you can provide value to clients. Obviously, if we're talking most agents, we're talking customers, buyers, and sellers. But then you're talking from a coaching standpoint, we're talking agents. And so, but you've made that transition at some point, and then you found the right fitting suit. Talk a little bit about your journey. How did you get started well before coaching? What were you doing before this for some of our listeners or viewers who don't know you? And then how did you get to where you are now?
Man, just you're a product of your environment. And my dad was in the public school system for almost 50 years, and he had to coach everything just to make ends meet. And being in Lawton, Oklahoma, that meant coaching football, coaching basketball, coaching golf. And then, oh, by the way, we take care of the facilities during the summertime. So it was nonstop. And, for me to spend time with my dad, hop in the truck and, hang out in the locker room. I was on the hardwood, falling off the back of golf carts, and then learning how to drive when I was 8 years old because I needed to move the truck down the field so he could move the irrigation system, right?
Oh, wow.
Those type of things to where you truly become a product of your environment. And so sitting in the locker room, listening to the coaches talk game, talk strategy while they're playing poker and talking through different athletes and how do we handle this situation. And so it's just one of those things that just kind of gets hardwired into you. And I knew early on, I loved the coaching dynamic side of things, but I wasn't going to coach in the public school system. I saw my dad's paychecks and I was like, man, this ain't for me. There's no way. And went to school to play golf, ended up on the drinking team instead of the golf team. And my aunt was like, what are you doing? Have you looked in the mirror? Like, you got long hair and you ride a Harley. You're supposed to be clean cutting at the golf course. What are you doing? She's like, get to California. So she ended up getting me a job at Ridgemont Golf and Country Club in Hollister, California. And at the time was at the peak. It was at the boom, late 90s. And we know what was happening on the golf scene about that time. There was a force coming and it changed everything. And so with Tiger coming on the scene and just golf was at the peak, and being in Central California, 45 minutes from Monterey, an hour south of San Jose. So right there in kind of the epicenter of it, in the cradle of it. And so we had 36 holes, semi-private golf resort. Meant we had members and we had public. So what quickly, not going to school, thinking I'm just going out to get a job, quickly became my education. And all because I had one of those incredible bosses, Kathy Wake. And Kathy had just, when I started, she was just named LPGA Teaching Pro of the Year. So she was like, she had a lot of spotlights and a lot of things going on her because of how she ran the show and how she took care of business. And it was really just a remarkable timing for me to walk into that situation. And she really took me under her wing. She's like, listen, man, you know how to play golf. You're out there, you're teaching, you know how to teach, you got your style, but you don't know really much. You don't really know shit about anything else. And so starting to understand how to deal with the public, how do you deal with the members? One season going in, she let me literally fall on the sword. She knew I was going to fail, but she didn't tell me that. This was right before Tiger became number one in the world. David Duval was number one in the world, and he was sponsored by Tommy Hilfiger. So she let me lay out the shop with Tommy Hilfiger collection. Biggest flop. We couldn't even give some of the clothes away, Mike. It was a lesson, right? She was letting me learn a lesson, letting me run tournament. We got 200 people getting ready to go on a tournament, and she has me doing the introduction on the microphone. I am scared to death. Like, what do I say? This is a hospital tournament. This is one of the biggest tournaments in all of Silicon Valley. And so just little lessons like that. She made me go spend time in the kitchen, get to know the guys behind the scenes, the waiters, the bus boys, the chefs, overtime and lodging. How do they handle that? What's the turnaround times? It's time in the bar, over with the going playing golf with the GM. Just for 3.5 years of just pouring into me. And like always, right, we tend to get sucked back to hometown. And I did. I got sucked back to Oklahoma, a couple childhood buddies that I grew up with, best friends. They were serial entrepreneurs. Truth be told, he sold me. He's the greatest salesman. He's a better salesman than Michael Reese. And he sold me to come back in and go on the road. We were doing construction. We were doing the rough frame for a lot of the franchise restaurants, the Chili's, the Bone Daddies, the Applebee's. And then we would come do the rough frame, and then we would come do the punch out. So we would there, go do another job, come back, punch it out, go do, just kind of bouncing around the country. Find out later he was just tired of being on the road and he didn't trust his business partner. So he needed somebody he could trust on the road to kind of keep an eye on his business partner. But ended up meeting my 2 oldest kids' mother and ended up pregnant with Colton. So I was like, dude, I'm off the road, man. I'm coming back and I'm staying here. I'm not going back on the road. And it was fine. We had started a lawn and landscape company. We had then partnered with a gentleman that had a sign fabrication and neon company, and then started to peel those off. We started to unload those businesses. So getting to go through that dynamic of flipping businesses, essentially selling off businesses. And we started a waste management company. We landed a contract at Republic Paperboard. They made sheetrock, and we got the trash contract. We didn't own one piece of equipment, Mike. So we land the contract. We have to go get trucks. We have to go get dumpsters. We have to go get everything. 13 months later, we sold it to Waste Connections. We didn't have nothing to do. And this was 2003. We get the bright idea that, hey man, we love the bar around the corner. The bar around the corner is for sale. We should buy the bar around the corner. What dumbest idea ever. And 128 straight days dropping the kids off, walking in, and I could immediately walk in and I knew how the night before went. Got to a point, walk behind the bar and pour Double Crown on the rocks to start your day. You knew it's time for a change. So Mr. Michael Reese caught wind that I was about to jump ship, and he made the connection to Kinder. What's crazy is that I had never met Kinder. And we're talking in the entire county is 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And I had never met Kinder. However, I knew him because you couldn't turn on the radio. You couldn't drive down the street without seeing billboards, signs, hearing him on the radio. He's in the newspaper. You couldn't go anywhere without it. He had branded himself so well that I already knew him and I had never met him. Wow. And that was an immediate lesson walking into that environment. That was in October of 04. And, for me, walking into an already successful team, closed out 340 transactions that year. The next year we went to 430. And then that third year we hit 521, and 521 was over 20% market share. So that just put things into perspective, right? So we had over 20% market share in our market. And when I walked in, it was like a go fast boat motor on the back of a rowboat is what it was like. It was really off the rails. So he brought me in to do what I do. And really if you want to okay, well, what did you do? It's like, if you've read Rocket Fuel and you understand the visionary and integrator, I was the integrator before integrator was even an integrator.
Right.
And that's where Jay and the coaching side of things would say, man, you just need a JK. You got to get a JK. And then obviously same thing, need a Joel. You need that operation. You need that integrator to really balance and keep the things on the tracks with the visionary that's all gas. Like Kinder, as we know, is all gas, no brakes. You got to have somebody that can counterbalance that out and especially be the buffer to the rest of the organization. And it was fantastic, man. It was an awesome ride. Learned a lot what not to do. And it's just funny looking back, Mike, 20 years, I did a lot of reflection. If I was to coach us now, coach these two 27, 28-year-old knuckleheads, how would I coach us? I would coach us on chasing freedom and not chase status. That year that we did 521, we were top 10 in the world for Coldwell Banker. We were Coldwell Banker at the time. Over 20% market share. We got throttled by a top 10 Remax team on the planet in our same market. They did almost 700 transactions to our 521. Us combined had 50% market share between our two teams that year. And we chased them. We chased status. We tried to be number one. We wanted to beat them so bad. And that was the wrong goal. And I can tell you, when you chase the wrong goal, it can set you back decades, not years.
Oof. So
it's super, super important to get clear, because what happens when you set the wrong goal is you build the wrong systems, infrastructure, you build the wrong. And ultimately what happens is that you get to the top of the ladder and you realize that your ladder's up against the wrong wall. So it's super important to take a little time and get clear. Is that goal? And is that really the goal? And what does that really look like? And the goal better be getting you closer to freedom than moving you further away from it. When you chase status and you stay in status too long, like I said, man, it'll set you back, not years, it'll set you back decades.
That's good. Yeah. Chasing the status can make you a whole bunch of money. But like I said, you get to the top of that ladder and you realize you're on the wrong wall. And then you start thinking about the things that actually matter. And now you've basically built a jail for yourself. And now you got to figure out how you get out of this thing. There's no escape from what you just built. And some people end up burning it down, or they try to sell it off, or whatever else. And I think that's
like what you said too, Mike. You said the same right thing right there. You can make a lot of money, but when you're chasing status, you spend a lot of money. And so it's the wrong goal. It's like, yeah, we want to hit gas. We want to hit our marks. We want to make a dent in the marketplace and make a dent in what we're trying to do. But when we're chasing freedom, we think about money a little bit differently. And I think that's the biggest get that I would go back and coach us on, would have been that distinction of, it's okay. Number one can be on the path, but that's not the goal. The goal is freedom.
Freedom is always the goal. I think that's one of the reasons why I even created the Leverage Lounge podcast. I am on a mission to help business owners and creators and entrepreneurs to think differently about what leverage looks like and what freedom truly means. Let's shift into the CEO energy, because with the CEO, it's not just the title. It truly is how you show up. So what are a few of the keystone habits that you see in agents who truly think and lead like a CEO?
The things that we were talking about earlier is really just that it's the entire agent to CEO concept and agent to CEO framework. And it's just really about evolution. Who are you continuing to evolve to become, and ultimately on the path to just be the best version of you. And really from an agent CEO mindset really starts with a mindset of execution. and execution and growth. And so when you step back and look at that, okay, what does it mean for me to lead and not only be the CEO of this business, but the CEO of my life? And one of the beliefs that I have, Mike, is I just don't believe you can coach and lead another human until you can coach and lead yourself first.
Ooh.
And the first rule of leadership is lead by example. And so how are you showing up every single day? Remember, 10s don't want to play with 8s. 10s definitely won't hang around 2s. Where are you showing up? How are you showing up? Remember, the size of your business is in direct proportion to the size of your leadership capabilities. That's what you have to focus on. That is your job. You said something at the very beginning talking about solopreneur. Well, what does that mean? A solopreneur comes up with the ideas. They execute the ideas, but they also manage the ideas. And if you do all three, you're a solopreneur. And so the thing to remember is that you can even have one of the top teams in your market. You have one of the top teams in the country. But if you're doing all three of those things, you're still a solopreneur. You have to learn to delegate. You have to learn to let go. You have to learn to build the team and stay within the salary cap confinement that we have. My revenue minus my profit. This is the dollars I have to put the best team on the field. Companies like yours, by being able to find talent in the VA world, allows you to add talent to within your salary cap. And so you got to remember your job is to lead by example, but then you got to have the vision and you got to be able to cast and articulate the vision. That's critical. Once you have and do that, then you got to build the team. We talked about that. The team to execute the strategy within the model in pursuit of the vision. Your job is to build the team. Then your job is to provide them resources and to remove the obstacles that are in their way. That is your job. But it all starts with, are you okay with people depending upon you? Because reality is that if you're a parent and you're committed to your kids, they're depending upon you. You're leading them, and it's no different in your business. That team is looking to you for guidance, direction, support, inspiration. And it's on you to take that and run with it. But first and foremost, like I said, you got to be able to lead yourself first before you can lead anybody else.
That's a bar. That's a bar. All right, let's get into our hot seat lightning round. You ready for this?
Let's go.
I got some quick questions for you. You can answer them really quickly, but then if we need to dive into a little bit of the why behind it, we'll give a short why behind it and get on right on to the next one. All right. What's the one thing you wish that agents would stop doing this week?
Start doing the work. How about that? Stop pretending. Stop playing on social media. Stop playing around. Stop playing business and actually get in and execute on the business. That's the thing. Like, get into the fundamentals. Are we generating opportunities? Are we having conversations? Are we talking to people? Are we setting appointments? Are we going on appointments? Are we articulating our value? Do we have a value proposition? Doing the work, focusing on the things within their control, and stop focusing or obsessing on things outside of their control. That's what they need to start doing.
I love that, man. I tell my agents all the time, stop getting ready to get ready, right? Yeah. Start doing. Yes. All right. What's a non-negotiable that you use to keep yourself in CEO mode?
Man, good freaking question. Non-negotiable, I think, is for me, no days off. I mean, we hear it as cliche, but like, it never stops. It's all timers. It really is. It's all the time. And I think that's another thing to your question earlier, is that if you're not okay with it on all the time, then leading and running a company is not for you. Now listen, being a number 3, being a number 4, even being a number 2 in an organization, maybe you're built more for that. So really understanding what you're built for, and that's then becomes the fuel for you. Really, what is your intent? What is your motive to be able to pursue the life and the career that you want to have?
There's a cost to being the boss, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, all right. If you could use one system to scale, which one would you use?
I'm going to default back to the Sabre system, because that allows you to become the best version of you, and nothing else can happen. Nothing is sustainable if you're not the best version of you. That is the key. Sustainability is everything. It's one of my favorite core values at EXP. It's everything you do. You're looking for sustainability, sustainable energy. And the best system is the foundation that's going to make you the best version of you. Just follow the Sabres.
All right. Well, you are successfully off the hot seat, my friend. You survived.
I love it.
You did great. Now, John,
Love
before
it.
we wrap up, I want to give you the floor. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience? This could be how to connect with you, a program that you're working on, a book that you are writing, something you're building, whatever, even a message that you want to leave with them.
If you're really thinking about escaping production, at some point, you've got to have a plan. You got to have a path. And it really starts with having somebody that's going to dive deep with you and uncover really what drives you, but what also you're not willing to commit to, and having that kind of audit of where you're at and where you're wanting to go. Or even if you're in the midst of it, what is the plan to get you out of this? And there's a lot of great people out there, but I've helped so many people escape production, and obviously being able to do it ourselves, that I'm down for a conversation if you are. So feel free to reach out at John Kitchens Coach on all social media platforms. Hit me up, and would love to chat.
At John Kitchens Coach.
Man, so many gems in today's episode. And if you're listening to this, you're ready to think bigger, build smarter, and scale with systems. This conversation was your blueprint. So if you got value from this, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody who's already ready to lead differently. And as always, for more conversations like this one, visit leveragewithmike.com and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This is the Leverage Lounge. I'm Mike Collier, and we'll see you next time.